Please welcome to the stage
Mo Anderson and Vanessa Pollock.
Welcome to the 2024 Cultural Summit.
Mo, there's been an awful lot of change in our industry recently.
Yeah, there's been some change in our industry. And we're here today to celebrate what never changes. And that is our culture. Now, there are unwavering truths that we can always count on, like the seasons, spring, summer, fall, and winter that come and go, always. And then there are rules of physics that never change, and mathematical equations that never change. And we have that same kind of unchanging truth for our culture. The four pillars of our culture and the higher purpose of business, which is to care, share, and give, are our unchanging truths. Now, Vanessa, wasn't it fun to see our pillars of culture turned into mathematical equations?
I know.
In that opening video.
I loved that. Hey, Mo, would it be okay if I share a personal story?
Yes, it would be okay for you to share.
So, 10 years ago, I actually was inducted as a cultural ambassador. And I sat in my very first cultural summit, just like this. And I heard Mo and leadership give this call to action to go home and think bigger, to make an impact. And so I went home and I started really digging into our business model for our team and wanting it to be a business that stood for culture and generosity. And I asked you, could I come and meet with you and see if I was on the right track? Could I present to you the Care, Serve, Give business model and see what you thought? And you graciously said yes, and we met, and I shared all about that business model with you. Care, Serve, Give. And as I'm sharing it with you, you said, wait a minute, and you pulled out your personal MVVBP, and you held it up, and right there printed, I'd never seen it before, said, the higher purpose of business is to care, share, and give.
Yes, I remember that meeting well. And I think, Vanessa, I also added one more challenge to you in that meeting. What was it?
Well, at that time, you said, darling, go get your team to 40 million.
Go get your team to 40 million.
Yes.
And then, did you?
Well, you gave me the roadmap. In that same idea of getting to 40 million, you said, you'll get there by serving on your ALC, being on your culture committee, and read every John Maxwell book there is. And so in doing that, I actually, yes, hit 40 million because it actually, then I realized wasn't about the 40 million, it was about who I'd become by living out our culture through our business.
And who you become as a leader of a team.
That's right.
That's right. Now, I think we had another meeting and you hit your 40 million and I said, girlfriend, go do 100 million. And did you?
You did say that, and yes, ma'am, our best year, we have had the opportunity to serve families to the tune of 120 million in production.
You know, it's really all about the culture, the way we treat each other. Care, share, serve, and give will never change. And the pillars of the culture have never changed, although we have enhanced the Y4C2Ts. And today we celebrate the unchanging truth of our culture. No matter what is changing in our industry, the culture never changes.
That's right. Now, I believe on your chairs you should all have a poster. And we really hope that you'll take that home and you'll hang it up in your office or in your market center. We hope that it's going to serve as a constant reminder of the 4 pillars of our culture. And again, it starts with the 6 personal perspectives, and then our MVVBP as a company, and our Y4C2Ts as our belief system, and then putting it all into action.
We live out the Keller Williams mission according to the MVVBP, which means mission, values, vision, beliefs, and perspective.
And our belief system. It's called the Y4C2Ts, and I believe you can see that up on the screen.
And most of those among us try to live by that, but those who embody the 4 pillars of the culture, those who truly live by the Y4C2Ts, those who embrace the MVVBP are known as cultural ambassadors, and here are your 2024 cultural ambassadors. Here we go.
Representing California Central and Southern, Steve Epstein. California Inland Empire, Audrey Acevedo. California LA Coastal, Michelle Duval. California Northern and Hawaii, Edith Espinola and Valerie Crowell. California Southern, Bridget Potterton and Dan Christensen. Canada, Michelle Stokes. Carolinas, Anna Catron and Walter O'Berry. Colorado, David Heine and Heather McChesney. Florida North, Ashley McCoy. Heartland Greater, Amy Hunsaker Williams and Katie Forrest. Maryland and D.C., Marlena McWilliams. Mexico, Claudia Celis. Michigan, Northern Ohio, David Simpson and Deborah Falzon. Mid-American, Jamie Lemons. New England, Tony Wallace. New York Tri-State, Marianne Slam and Tyasia Parks. North Central, Kyle Olson and Tara Allen. North Texas, New Mexico, and Memphis, Latoya Bryant Contreras and Nikiel Patel. Ohio Valley, Isaac Chandler and Tiffany Blair Wright. Oklahoma, Kenny Tate and Malia Finucane. Pennsylvania Greater, Joseph Grork and Rashida Pouncey Conley. South Florida, Kim Nishizaki. Southeast, Jarrett Benson and Raquel Lavender. Texas South, Melanie Carpenter. Utah, Jennifer Jorgensen and Kellyanne Pratt. And Virginia, Susan Shelton.
Weren't they great? We got so carried away with the agents, we forgot to come back up.
That's right, we were loving on everybody. Great job, y'all. Aren't they awesome?
Culture is the force that brought this company to #1 in the world.
Yes, ma'am.
That one is worth you standing up. Come on. And in addition to being #1 in the world, the culture absolutely magnetized an amazing global family of associates. And this particular group of ambassadors, along with the leadership of Wendy Harrelson and John Clyde, can actually usher in a revival of the culture.
Yep. That's exactly right, Mo. So with that in mind, please welcome to the stage President of KWRI-owned regions, Wendy Harrelson, and Vice President of Growth, John Clyde.
Remember, if you don't get 7 hugs a day, you get weird.
Hey, I was going to say that.
Oh, well, say it again.
Okay.
Sorry. John and Wendy, you are both absolutely leaders of growth for our company. So tell us, which of the 4 pillars are you most passionate about and why?
Let me take this?
First, yeah.
I think I like them all, but I would tell you 6 personal perspectives has always been like my favorite because I think it applies to like not just real estate, but to life.
Yeah.
And I remember when I seen Entrepreneurial to Purposeful and being learning based, I was the opposite. Meaning that I did everything entrepreneurial, nothing was purposeful. I didn't want to learn. I just said, I can figure it out. I don't need to follow people before me. I don't need to read books. And really, it was when I came to this company when I started to say, like, I don't need to have that squiggly line to figure it out. Like, it's an easier way. So I think really being learning-based and implementing the things that I've learned and actually bring them to action is kind of what's changed my life. So I would say, for me, 6 personal perspectives stands out the most for me.
Thanks, John. What about you, Wendy?
You know, I'd have to say the Y4C2Ts. And I think it's because I kind of grew up here, and it was in place when I got here. I couldn't pronounce it. I always thought it was a word. I was like, what is that word on the wall? But as a leader and being a team leader for so long and in the regional position, it solved a lot of problems by just talking through it with people. It's been a well-defined set of values that we've had for years, and we haven't changed it, but we've only enhanced it
Right, that's right.
with our culture to make it better. And so I think that by you giving that copy to everybody, it can be so used in our businesses all around with our agents, with our other team members. And if we lived by it, if we all lived by it on a daily basis, things would be perfect, right?
Right?
Well, more perfect.
That's exactly right.
So we talked about how the higher purpose of business is to care, share, and give. How does that show up for each of you as leaders at KWRI?
You know, I think for me, I was a state trooper for 17 years, and you know, I took this role. I'm going to change the lives and the communities, and I'm going to make a difference in everything. And I think as I went through that journey, I started to see that it wasn't exactly like that. And slowly but surely, as a dual career real estate agent, I started to fall in love with the real estate part. And then I was like, wow, this leadership, like leading this people is fun in this world. And then all of a sudden, like, you know, you started to get addicted to that leadership feeling, and probably why I'm here today, because I continue to be addicted to leadership and learning and kind of seeing that play out through share, care, and give. So I would say that's for me.
Yeah, it sounds like servant leadership to me.
Yeah, always been a servant leader.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know that.
yes.
Wendy, how about you?
Being in leadership, it feels so much better to care and to share and to give up. Caring about our people right now is so important because times are tough. Things are different. But when you care, when people know you care about them, one, they tend to stay, they trust you. You feel better as a leader when you share and you give up and you care. You feel better when you go home if you just helped one person. But I think that it's important that we all realize that right now, knowing that things are different and things are changing, that we have to just care about our people and let them know that. They can't assume that you know you care about them. You have to actually tell them or show them in little ways. But it's important right now to really pour into your people. Show up every day.
That is so true. Every moment counts. Yeah.
And every person counts.
Changing market.
Every person does
like
count.
this.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
What is a cultural moment that happened or you experienced that caused you maybe to want to come to Keller Williams? Can you think of any? John?
You know, I'll never forget, I was recruited. I was a top agent at another company, and the team leader was sharing all the value adds of Keller Williams. He's one of the best in the industry at the time, George Denny. And I remember him saying to me the values. And he was like, you know, our mantra is God, family, then business. And I was so out of balance. I was a state trooper, a dual career agent, had 4 kids, and I thought I was doing good, but I was way off the line with my faith and with my family. And when he said it, I like got punched in the stomach, ugh. And I was like, is this meant to be, or is this like a bunch of haji-paji stuff? And I came to Keller Williams and met Mark Willis. You know, I remember, you know, I was a big recruit at the time. And, you know, I felt it when I walked through the building. I felt that God, family, then business. And I told my wife, I was like, this is it. We're going to do this. So I never forget. And I'm definitely in balance. Sometimes you get out, but when you go back to our values, you get back in balance and say, you know, my faith, my family, my business is what matters. So I'll never forget that for me. It's the values.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing.
What about you, Wendy?
Well, I have to be honest, culture didn't bring me here because I've been here so long that I didn't even know what real estate really was. I was a kid 33 years ago. But the one thing I can say is that culture has kept me here.
So it brought you here and it's kept you here.
It's kept me here, and it's why I went into leadership. but I've experienced so many things. Seeing an agent give their kidney to another agent, having hurricane relief, helping people go through cancer, seeing the company show up from all over the world, people you don't even know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things sometimes when you have a bad day and you think about it and you go, why would you ever leave? Nobody else has this.
No.
You might be interested in knowing, Wendy, that one of our cultural ambassadors this year has given a kidney to a stranger.
Wow.
Wow, that's awesome.
Well, as you remember, it happened in my market center,
Yes.
and it was unbelievable. And but it's actually what I think it was when that market center catapulted into full-on growth when that happened.
Yeah.
That people saw that this was possible here.
Yeah, that's who we are.
It's who we are. We show up for our people.
That's right.
In all kinds of ways.
Oh, yes, we do.
Well, speaking of showing up, I'm so grateful for both of your leadership. I mean, truly. And we'd love it if you would do us the honor in co-hosting the remainder of the Cultural Summit with Mo and I.
Love to.
No, let's do it.
Okay?
Let's go.
All right, great.
Good.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
on.
Thank you.
Okay, so each year, every region selects 2 associates to serve as cultural ambassadors. All these wonderful people. Ambassadors are nominated by their peers for being individuals who embody and model the culture of our company at an extraordinary level.
Ambassadorship is a lifetime appointment, not an award. And for that reason, we will now induct the 2024 class of ambassadors with our cultural oath.
Will all ambassadors, past and present, and anyone else that would like to join in reciting the oath with them, please stand and raise your right hand. Ready? I do solemnly affirm that I will faithfully live and work according to our cultural standards. I will care, share, and give in order to better our world. I will continue to place service and people before profit. I will place honor and integrity before personal advantage. I will strive to live out the higher purpose of business, and I will commit to establishing my own legacy worth leaving.
Keller Williams, we proudly present you your 2024 Cultural Ambassador.
Congratulations.
Great job, great job. You may be seated.
On August 28, 2021, I suffered a stroke with quick family response and emergency care. Thank God. I was blessed to escape any long-term disabilities. I had attended my granddaughter's birthday party. I was feeling fine. I came home and my daughter noticed that I was slurring my words. Everybody started asking me if I was okay. And then I heard my voice and I realized I was not okay. Went to the emergency room and was admitted into the hospital. They just did a lot of tests to diagnose that I did in fact have a stroke. The intervention was just so timely. And I just think that God was in it, and people should know how timely it has to be. The stroke was a mindset changer. Experiencing a life-threatening event really makes you reassess things, especially your priorities, your values. I had to keep my business going. During procedures and doctor's appointments, I always just keep moving forward in the face of troubles, difficult times, with lots of prayer, optimism, resilience, and determination. When you get a second chance, you have to look at your life and see if you're living in a way where you're making a difference in others' lives. I was really praying for how God would use me in an impactful way in people's lives. I wanted to do something that really mattered. I continued to pray for God to use me effectively. I really feel like I heard the answer to his prayer. I had the feeling that people's morale was dropping and their troubles were rising. Our team leader was sharing some of the difficulties agents were going through. In particular, Murat had fallen off of a ladder. He was an agent, a husband, a father of 2 young children, which blew me away because I have 2 granddaughters the same age. And he was paralyzed. After the meeting, I walked up to our team leader and said, John, we need a care team, and our agents and I are going to lead it. That's when HUGS was born. It stands for hope, understanding, grace, and service. It's kindness, it's support, it's prayer, new babies and marriages. It's flowers with blooming flat smiles. It's for the hurting, and it's for the happy. It's phone calls, it's cards. It's really simple. It's just doing caring things and serving others. Market Center just jumped right on board, and they have totally 100% behind us. I think that it has become an extension of our culture team. The agents feel like they're seen and they're loved, and it's become more of a family. I personally am grateful to God for HUGS and that I get to do this. I never had any idea that experiencing this life-threatening event could turn out so impactful and be such a blessing, not only to me, but to others. We are huggers in East Boca Raton, and I hope you and your Market Center will become huggers.
Wow. Kim, I can't even tell you how, when I watched that video, I've watched it 2 or 3 times, how much it touched my heart. We can't control what happens to us, but we sure can control how we react to it. And you took a life tragic event that can sometimes be debilitating or life-ending, and you turned it into something wonderful that's created a huge legacy of love. And I'm in awe of you. And I'm so happy that you're okay. We heard some amazing stories of lives that you impacted in the video, and I really have to ask you, what is one story that has really impacted you from HUGS?
Well, before I say that, I want to tell you how excited I am to be here, and thank you for this opportunity.
It's an honor.
This is like a bucket list. I'm getting interviewed by Wendy Harrelson. I got to meet Mo. I still haven't met Gary yet, though. I'll work on that. But you know, so many of them are my favorite, but one that sticks out in my mind, it's one of my favorites, is one day one of my coworkers lost their mom. Her husband and her lost their mom. And so we decided to deliver a meal and some flowers, and so I did the delivery, and I went out, and they met me on the patio, and we exchanged hugs. I gave them their flowers and their food, and he took the flowers in the house, and Lisa and I walked out to the sidewalk and chatted for a while, and then I said, "Can I pray for you?" And she said, "Well, sure, of course." And so we held hands, and we prayed, and said amen, and lifted our eyes up, and the Amazon Prime truck stopped out on the corner.
Just stopped?
Stopped. The driver emerged from the truck, and he started walking towards us, but he didn't have a box in his hand. And so Lisa and I were looking at each other as, what's going on here? And he started walking really fast, and he's saying, "Were you guys just praying?" And I said, "Yes, we were." And he said, "Well, I could sure use some prayer today."
Oh.
So, yeah, so.
That's amazing. So he just stopped and saw that you were doing goodness, and he wanted to share in that. I love this so much. What's next for HUGS?
Well, this is really important. It's too important to abandon our culture. HUGS, what you guys are doing. I know all of your offices have amazing stories. But as an agent, we need to be physically healthy, and we need to be emotionally healthy. And we can do that for each other. So I guess we want to create a community of camaraderie that we can celebrate and comfort during the best times and the worst times. Extending the KW culture is an ultimate win-win, right? Just as I get so excited when I give the hug, but you want to know something? I'm the one who gets the blessing, right?
That's right, yeah.
We have a vision to, listen, We have a vision that each office, there might be an office that just hasn't quite gotten their culture together. We'd love to help you. Isn't that funny? I love to travel.
Okay, she just offered.
And if there's a new office that just needs some inspiration, let me tell you about this group at Boca East, KW East Boca Raton in Florida. They have come behind me in an amazing way. We are a unit. At a meeting, we say, okay, so we need a plate list. Okay, we got the plate list. We need an email so people can request a hug. Okay, we got that done. And just thing after thing, we have all the systems in place, and we want to offer them to you. I just have to take this moment to recognize that group because I'm here only because of them. Yesterday, listen to this, Wendy. I got 3 emails from people saying, I delivered an orchid, Kim. I sent out a card, Kim. I'm sitting with Laura, who lost her brother to Huntington's disease today. And this is what it's about.
The impact you've made just keeps going and going.
So the other thing they said to me was, guess what? We put a tab on the website, Everything Hugs. So can I say the website so they can go there? Because they can get all the information that they want.
I think it could be very helpful to every market center to just incorporate one more thing of culture.
So it's life at KW Boca, B-O-C-A, /hugs.
Wonderful.
Life at KW Boca.
Well, I want to be a head hugger.
Okay, I have a t-shirt for you.
You do?
I do, and you're officially a head hugger.
Wonderful. And I want to tell you, Mo already said it, but if you don't give 7 hugs a day, you get weird.
All right,
So
let's
let's
do
start
it.
right now. Thank
Everybody
you, Kim.
hug each other.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So my name is Latoya, and I actually grew up in Ennis, Texas, which is a small town about 30 minutes south of Dallas. You know, I just hit my 9 years here with the same market center with here in Waxahachie. And so when I came in 2015, I felt like there was something missing. And I just couldn't pinpoint what it was. And I felt like that there were maybe people that needed a different person to go to. I was like, you know what, let me do something else. So let me create just a quick Google form, you know, and they can fill out. Because not only, you know, when COVID hit, it wasn't just about prayers. I mean, it was tremendous need. I mean, we had agents that needed support as far as like utilities, as far as like, you know, food-wise, and then, you know, it moved on to unfortunate deaths in their families. And it's like, how else can we show up and be there for them? And yeah, it started, I post a link every Monday it goes out. I've been doing it for the past 4 or 5 years, actually. So I get an alert on my phone or in my email, and I check it. And if I feel like it's a need to where I need to, hey, text my team leader and MCA and say, hey, we need to reach out to this agent right now, then that's what I do as well. So it's see you at the sign. So when I was growing up in little old Ennis, you know, every year they would do see you at the pole, you know, and I'm pretty sure that still is happening around the country, you know, where they see you at the pole and they have a day of prayer, right? And so there was the Keller Williams sign, and so I would host see you at the sign there, and it was just a quick 15 to 20 minute gathering to where, you know, either it's an inspirational quote that I would share, versus let's just take a moment to not think about your business. Let's think about your personal life. So I would say, and I'm sorry, the need to lift people up for me is that I had someone there to do that when I didn't think I had anyone. And again, like I said, when you just see so many people going through so much hurt and pain because they did not have somebody standing next to them telling them, hey, I got you. It's okay, I got you. That's when you realize that, yeah, you either you're going to be a part of the problem or you're going to be a part of the solution. And I chose to be a part of the solution and to continue to lift people up.
You know, sometimes you meet people in this company that, you know, you think to yourself, I could do better. Like I got to figure out how I can do something really cool. And LaToya, thank you. I'm honored to be here speaking to you. And, you know, when you shared with me, I got you, and how inspiring it was to you and why. Could you share with them? Because I was like, this is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So first I want to say thank you so much because look who I'm sitting by. Oh my gosh.
I could say the same thing to you, trust me.
So when I was growing up, it was my grandmother. You know, most of us, we were raised by our grandparents back then, and she would always say, I got you. And today I have several people now saying that, you know, to me as well. She was always the one out there, you know, to be there for others when no one else was there. She was always giving guidance and care and love, and sometimes some tough love that we all need.
Yes, yes.
It may not have always been what you wanted to hear, but it's what you needed to hear.
We need more of that in the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, me personally, I know what it's like to have moments in your life where everything seems to go wrong and it's just so hard, to be let down, to be discouraged, to be just unmotivated, to not even want to even do life. And that's kind of hard to say, right? And so I don't want anyone else to feel like that. So I have become who I needed in those moments for others.
You know, that's the stuff that makes this company great. You know, when I think about culture, you embody it, and you starting, I think it was See You at the Sign.
Yes.
It seems so simple, but I think it's needed more than ever. Tell us about that. Like, why'd you start it?
So I remember in school growing up and doing See You at the Pole, right? And like I said, they are still doing it. I found out they still do it. And I mean, just gathering with your peers and just being around them. And that led me to combine the idea with the prayer requests and a needs Google form as well. And so I send that out, like I said, every Monday. And, you know, and agents can respond to the post, or they can submit the form in confidentiality, whatever they may need, whether it's a prayer, whether it's actually a meal train, whatever the need is, and then we jump right on it.
You know, it seems you got a pattern of I got you, right? Your grandmother got you, and you got the Market Center. And you and I also had something in common. I was sharing with you that, you know, 4 years ago, I was part of starting diversity and equity and inclusion for this company. And you were like, you lit up about like you leading that in your Market Center. So share how that's going and how that makes you feel to be leading that.
So it's meant the entire world, you know, to be on the DEI. And when my team leader and VP of Op, they were like, hey, we need somebody to be the chair of our DEI. And I'm like, right here, I got it, I'll do this. Do I get to speak out? Okay, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah. And so for me, and the awareness that it was just going to bring to this industry, I immediately volunteered. And it's just such a pivotal and crucial group. And I continue, you know, to bring back information on training and opportunities and awareness. I think that's the biggest thing. I think so the other biggest thing is when I joined KW about a little over 9 years ago, I'm with the same Market Center. There wasn't anybody that looked like me. There was maybe one other person. Okay? There was nobody else that spoke Spanish in my Market Center. And I'm like, oh, that made me feel like I couldn't be successful in this group. That made me feel like I could not be successful in this business. And because I know how I felt, I made it a point to where if any new agent or any recruit come in, I said a quick hello, you know, and to let them know, you know, of all the things that I do, and let them know, you know, everything that I'm involved in and how successful I have become, because they can do the same thing as well. So yeah, and I mean, one particular thing that I remember is just that, you know, just letting everybody know that diversity is more than just race and color. It's age, it's social class, it's physical attributes, it's belief, it's equity, having the same opportunities and resources, especially, you know, this being historically at a disadvantage, and, you know, doing so by being inclusive. And also, if you don't agree with something someone says or a certain thing, you should at least still respect them.
You know, LaToya, there's sometimes that in my almost 15-year career here in Keller Williams that you meet people and you're like, I'm going to be hanging with this person for a while in this company, and you are one of those agents, leaders, and inspiration. So I want to just thank you, and I appreciate you, and keep doing what you're doing. And I'll be seeing you around.
I love
Appreciate
it. Thank you.
Thank you, Latoya.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Blair Wright, and I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, born and raised. Magnolia Resource was founded to serve children and families going through foster care and adoption and kinship care. So we try to go where that market is, and much like with real estate, sometimes there's just mistakes and valleys, life happens, but you'll see that we do a lot of different types of events. And when we do family events, it's for the whole family. It's not just for the foster kids. We want to build experiences worth having. Oh, you've heard that one before, right? Experiences worth having, but also the memories worth keeping. That's what we really want to give these families. Our Bloom boxes are our care packages, and those are just happening. We just switched it to semi-annual, but it's got clothes, toys, school supplies, hygiene items, books, and they're shipped directly to the kid. It has their name on it. This box belongs to, like, this is their little treasure box. It's for them. Sometimes these kids don't even have shoes. Like, they're just, like, whisked out. Depends on the situation. So we made sure that they had a new stuffed animal, that they had clothes, hygiene items, and the kids just like love getting these toothbrushes. Because when they leave their homes, that's usually something that's not top of mind for us. And they want to learn how to take care of themselves. They want to learn how to be more independent and learn these life skills. So that was something that we learned. And then we also did backpacks. We call them Bloom packs, and they're for kids that are aging out of foster care. So they're like 18, they could be 21, but they're aging out. And so we've been doing surveys of what would you like to get started? What would be most helpful? A lot of that was source of resources. Where do I go to register to vote? Who are the emergency contacts? And if they're going through foster care and adoption and some of these other journeys that I shared, they're not alone. And all of our journeys are different. And so it's really building that community. Even if a child is only in a home for, an emergency placement, they're there for, a week or a few days, but still give something that sticks with them for a lifetime, that they have experienced joy and they've experienced love. And hopefully that sticks with them. And when they go back out, whatever their situation, if they can remember that and they say, yeah, no, I can do this too.
Back in 2020, my husband, who had already been in real estate, invited me to a family reunion. One of the most pivotal moments from that trip, and I think that changed how I looked at, KW, the culture, real estate, and just our life, me and my husband's life and our future, was at Inspirational Morning. And when I heard that first MVP, I was just like, wow. I was like, that is so simple. The sentences are so simple, but so impactful and so meaningful. And that experience is worth giving really stuck with me. KW has helped us realize that we are put here to make change, to make a difference, to make huge impacts, and it's up to us to just pursue that. This past year and a half, giving people experiences have been like in the forefront of my mind. It could be a small event like my kid's birthday party, to a big elaborate event like Closing for a Cause, to a community event, and it just brings me so much purpose and fulfillment, providing opportunities and giving people experiences of making memories. The Market Center has helped us show up better almost every single day. Office has definitely given us an open mind to be like, the more collaborative, the more inclusive we are, like the more we're all going to succeed. My first taste of in the business world entrepreneurship was when I dabbled into owning my own clothing store. It wasn't about selling clothes. It was about helping women look and feel their best, to show up every single day, dress to impress. And when I had my boutique, I had a little shop my closet section. It was clothes that I might have sampled, I might have worn for photography, might have used for marketing. I never ever sold them in store, but they were just sitting there. And that section of my boutique did extremely well. When I was, sourcing my personal closet from summer to winter, I seen all this clothes there that I was just gonna pack away and wait till next year. And I'm like, someone could really use this clothes. So instead of me just, donating it, which would have been great, I had this idea of how can I make it more impactful, more purposeful. I called my friend and I was like, I have this idea. Can you help me pull this off. I want to take all the clothes that are in my closet that I would normally just donate. Let's sort through it, see what is like actually in good condition, and let's sell it. We're gonna give that money back to charity. So we started brainstorming. We found Margaret's Closet, which is a closet within the Single Parents Association. If a single mom is going back into the work world or going back to school and she needs an outfit, she would go to this closet and just shop for free. My thought process was, we collaborate with a local boutique, we get all the clothes sorted, priced, we get all my old past Bombshell boutique clients to come in and line up. We sold out. We could only, capacity was 80 women. We sold out within hours. So we charged, a low ticket price for these tickets. Everyone came. I had like a nice sip and shop on a Sunday. We raised $5,000 from that one event, just over $5,000. And all the clothes that we didn't sell, we actually donated to Margaret's Closet. So we kind of have like a dual impact. It's like, ladies felt awesome because they got to go shopping and they got some nice cute clothes that they missed out on. The Single Parent Association got a nice big check, and the Margaret's Closet got a replenishment of beautiful clothes for women to go shop at. The most important thing to me is sharing an experience, making a memory. I can share and I can give people the backpacks. I can give people, back to school supplies. I can give them clothes. I can share those things, the tangible things with them. But most importantly, I want them to be able to experience things in life and make memories that they didn't really think possible.
Talk about experiences worth giving. It's a part of our culture, and what I love about this is look at how they've both internalized that and then customized it to where they felt called, to where they wanted to make a positive impact. So Tiffany, tell us, what inspired all of this?
Yeah, so I started the Magnolia Resource in 2020, just before the pandemic kind of shut everything down. But the inspiration was my daughter. My oldest is adopted. And it was all a big surprise. We didn't know that we were going to be able to adopt her. We didn't know that she'd be coming home with us. Our experience was very up in the air. We just knew there was a little baby that was sick and needed love, and so we went to another state to do what we could. And my market center jumped in and had blankets monogrammed. We didn't have a crib, we had nothing. And the market center jumped up, and the agents hosted the baby shower, got diapers, all this stuff to get us ready so we could focus on our daughter. And so as she got healthier, all of that love and support that we got from our community was just so inspiring. And then as we were going through the process, I realized, well, wait, there's a lot of gaps. So very similar to what we do in real estate, I was able to kind of relate to, hey, there's gaps, and I want to fill this void here. Yeah. So that was the inspiration behind it.
That's amazing. Now, so somebody might be watching and want to go do something like you've done back home. How would they get started?
Awesome. I hope you do. I hope you go back. There's over 400,000 kids in the U.S. that are right now getting some kind of service or support from the foster care system. So please.
Wait, say it again. How many?
Over 400,000.
Okay.
So please go home. Do things in the community. These kids need us. So yeah, just get involved. Find out what organizations are in your town, who's doing what for kids, and get to know everyone. That was another piece that we noticed going through the process of setting up the nonprofit and the adoption was it was all about who you knew, because the people who had all the knowledge and the connections, they weren't really using computers. So when they retire, all the information is gone. So get to know how the other nonprofits in the area are working and see where that gap is. And if you'd like to do Bloom boxes, we've got it down to a science. We like models and systems. So we can serve 100 to 150 kids with Bloom boxes with a turnaround time of 4 to 6 weeks. So if you would like to do Bloom boxes, our care packages for kids in your community, come find me. Send me an email, phone call, and we'll get you going.
Awesome. Now, you've learned a lot through the years. You just talked about a lot of that. But what is the biggest lesson through all of this that you've learned?
Faith.
Say more.
When I was starting the nonprofit, I like to host events and put things together. I like models and systems, things like that. And when you look at the stats of how many kids are in the system and what support they're not getting, it seems, at least in the beginning, it seemed like this is too big, this is too much to tackle. And there were times where, you know, the form isn't working, people can't sign up, are people gonna show up, did we make the right connection with the right vendor, all of that type of thing, while trying to be super sensitive to the kids and their situations, making sure all the things are, you know, they don't say, like, my mommy loves me, like all these little cute things. It's like, oh, you don't know the situation, so trying to be sensitive.
Yeah.
And I found that it always works out. Just always works out. So now we're to a point where maybe the form didn't work. Okay, still gonna work out. So it was faith, just having that faith, and it drives me to keep doing the boxes. The first round was pretty rough because it was during the pandemic, so that support of like being in person, being able to collaborate wasn't there. And I would have quit like after that one. It was really hard, but kept going. And I remember those experiences with the agents from my market center and our community coming together for our daughter, and it was like, no, keep going because there's more kids like this.
So good, so good. Now, the Keller Williams MVVBP, as we've talked about, is one of the pillars of our culture. So Michelle, what does that mean for you? What does the MVVBP really mean for you?
I will be honest, when I first heard it, like many people, all these acronyms, all these letters, initials, it was back in 2020, and my husband brought me to my first family reunion.
Yeah.
I was unlicensed, I was a nurse, I was just testing the waters of what it would mean to come over and join him in this world. It wasn't all the MVVBP, it was the mission statement that really stuck with me at that moment.
Yeah.
It was Inspirational Morning, it was Mo, it was the stories, and when I heard, my husband didn't know what he was getting himself into, for one thing. We left family reunion, I officially joined, we doubled our business, but the mission statement of, you know, careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, that really stuck, and it fueled a passion and a fire I didn't know I had. And it gave me real clarity of what we could do together, and we started building our team and the community things that are coming, so that's what it means to me.
God, that's awesome. It's just a clear direction.
Yeah,
that's great. Now, you mentioned in the video, closing for a cause. Can you tell everybody a little bit more about that?
Sure. So I borrowed that idea from Vanessa. A couple of years ago, you spoke on a panel or a keynote at some point, and you mentioned your closing for a cause. And when I heard it, I was just like, a light bulb went off, and it meant, I don't even know what I wrote down, but I just scribbled. And I should have been a doctor maybe, because I have poor penmanship, and it was just like wild what I was writing. But we initiated Closing for a Cause, ironically, a year ago, like in August. I have like the memories coming up on my Facebook this week of like teaser videos of us launching it, talking about it, so it's really ironic. So what we do as a team, we take a percentage or a portion of our commissions, no matter if you buy or sell, and we put it to our community charity fund. Throughout the year, we do different things, of course, with like back to school, kids, warm bellies, like all these things. You know, Santa things, a lot of things with kids, honestly. And now we're at a year and we have a pot. Yeah. We have money that we didn't really know. Now we have to decide collectively as a team, what are we going to do with this? So we did our, you know, over the past 4 years, we've had have had a calendar of community events of things we did, and we just did it with our own personal money.
Right.
And now, you know, the year has passed, we've done all the events, and we have money left. So now I don't know what we're going to do. We have to collectively go back and see what we're going to do. But that's what we initiated after that time I was at family reunion and seeing it. So thank you for the idea.
I can't wait to hear what you do with it. But that's our culture: care, share, and give. I shared an idea of what we're doing, and you went home and you implemented it. And I love that so much. But you do have to tell me what you end up doing with it.
Yeah,
I can't wait to hear. All right, so considering all that you've learned through everything that you've experienced, just tell everyone, if you could give them an idea of one thing to go home and do. What's their one thing? Because, well, yeah, you go.
I'm not going to give you a specific example of what to do, but you just need to take action to do something. You have heard from amazing like mega agents, like massive teams, beautiful stories from like cultural ambassadors, what we're doing in our community and our culture. And you have notes upon notes upon notes. So if you go home and do nothing with it, what's the point? You came, you had a great time, you might have got a referral, but like you're not doing anything purposeful. So what I have always done, I've only been in this industry for 4 years, but I've always been a highlighter girl. So I want you to get 3 highlighters, 3 different colors, and I want you to highlight everything you wrote down as, you know, things that I could do, things that I should do, or maybe will do, and things I need to do. And that need to do should be a really, really short list, and that's what you're gonna go home and take action on, whether it's a very specific tactile thing for your business, or if it's a cultural, more meaningful, personal thing. Everything else, put it on your parking list, your parking lot. We have a parking lot of a million ideas and lists that we will eventually go to, but once we get to that, like, I need to do this first thing first, take action on that, and then look at everything else after.
Well, thank you for that. You have certainly taken action, and we appreciate your leadership and your inspiration, both of you, for internalizing all of this and then just stepping out in faith, taking action, making such a positive impact in your communities, in your businesses, and in your worlds. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When you talk about homelessness in Austin, every conversation I've ever been around, Mobile Loaves and Fishes always comes up. And then the second thing out of their mouth is, it's that Alan Graham guy.
We were going down the stairs of this building across the street from the old St. John Newman. It was raining, it was me and him. And he basically said, you know, I've got this idea, I want to run by you. He started describing what he was thinking about doing, buying a truck and going out on the street and start helping the homeless.
Every supernatural miracle in the Bible all starts with man taking one very natural step. That's all we did, was we just took the step. And then God started filling in. He started bringing people into our sphere that had financial resources, that had engineering resources for land, that had political relationships to help bring those people to the table.
When you grow up around poverty and you see how it impacts an entire family, how it impacts an entire community, you can appreciate those folks who don't have to work in that space, but who choose to work in that space.
What makes Alan a very unique individual is he tells you exactly the way it is, and his heart is there. He's benefiting by seeing others around him benefit. Now that's a true leader, when you can do something, but others are going to benefit more than you, and you get great joy in doing something for somebody else, asking nothing in return, because it needs to be done.
I'm not sure that I know anyone else involved in civic and social issues in this city that has the dedication, the focus, the same mission-driven quality that Alan has. He had a challenge and a need that he identified that he was going to address, and there wasn't anybody in the world that was going to get in his way.
If you want to know anything about homelessness, you talk to Alan, or if you want to know about a solution, you talk to Alan, or if you want to know how to get things done, you talk to Alan. Alan has made himself the guy that gets things done in Austin for a population that frankly was not loved.
Please welcome to the stage, Alan Graham.
Y'all gonna make me cry right off the bat. How's everybody doing? You know, my original seed was actually planted in 1978 when I was sitting in the kiosk of a photomat in a parking lot of a grocery store. And a friend of mine drives up, he's wearing a suit, he's in a brand new 1978 white Mercury Marquis. The air conditioning's blowing on him, he's bringing film, remember film? and he's getting the film processed because he is a real estate agent and about to post some listings in the local MLS system. And I'm going to the University of Texas. I'm failing at this point. I hate school. I could not stand it. I couldn't really sit in a classroom. It was not the place that I needed to be. And I'm looking at him and I'm saying, I want to be like that guy right there. And I went out and got my real estate license in 1978 and began an extraordinary career that actually brings me to this stage right now. And I want you to know how much in solidarity I am with you, and that the foundation of everything that you just witnessed on that video flows out of my real estate days and obviously my love of God, my love of Christ. If you drive around our city, the city of Austin, or your great city, any city USA, and you peer up under the bridges and our street corners, we're seeing the same thing in all of our cities, and it looks and appears to be absolutely hopeless. You're seeing mental illness out on our street corners, you're seeing drug addictions, you're seeing physical health issues beyond the pale of understanding. You're witnessing a level of trauma that is incredible. But when you drive into our village, every day, 24 hours a day, and meet exactly the same people, they're waving at you, they're telling you hello, they'll tell jokes if I'm around. If I take you on a tour, my friends will tell you to keep your hands in your pocket, watch out for Alan. And it's a culture, it's a powerful culture, and it is a culture of hope. It's a culture of hope. We are serving the most despised, outcast, lost, and forgotten men and women of our city. We're serving people who have battled profound mental health issues, people who battle profound addictions, people who come from a profoundly and catastrophically broken family environment, a level of trauma and violence that is very difficult for most of us to actually understand. Again, the most despised, outcast, lost, and forgotten of our community. The average age in our village is 57 years old. The average age of death, and there will be somewhere between 25 and 30 men and women that will pass away this year alone, is 59 years old. This gives you a sense about the trauma that these men and women have experienced over this period of time. Yet when they come into this community, lost and forgotten, broken and battered, and one of the common questions that gets asked of us all the time is, do they get to own a home here? And the answer is no. Their average income is about $900 a month. Can you imagine that? $900 a month. And many of us living in this room right now that are probably struggling to live on $900 a day. And our neighbors, through SSI or SSDI, are being asked to live on $900 a month. It's crazy. They don't have the ability to move into home ownership the way that you and I think about it. But let me tell you what they get on the day that they move in. They get a key. And that key, that little key, is one of the most powerful symbols of home ownership, of being at home, that you could ever possibly fathom. Taking a key and handing it over to someone that perhaps has never held a key in their hands in their entire life, or a key that actually belongs to them that will move them inside of a space that will provide them with safety and security. So that begs the question for us from a cultural perspective, what is home? What does home really mean? Now, most of us think of the home as the four walls and the roof. And the new term around the industry of homelessness is houseless. And at Mobile Loaves and Fishes, we reject that term. It's a very transactional term. It makes the assumption that you and I can solve the issue of homelessness by merely providing a house, and that's really not what home is all about. So if we ever really want to understand homelessness, we must understand what home means. And I'm going to give you 8 characteristics of home that we believe very powerfully in. Number 1, home is a place of permanence. The men and women that move into the Community First Village have the ability to not only live there permanently, but they have the ability to live there infinitely. When they pass away, we are willing, if they give us the right, we are willing to cremate them and inter their ashes in a memorial garden in a columbarium right there in the middle of the property, that everybody that drives through that property every single day sees that memorial garden. Instead of you, the despised and outcast, being lost and forgotten in the pauper cemetery, we will etch your name in granite, and for as long as we live, we'll continue to tell lies about you. Home is a dwelling place. It's that place that when you cross over the threshold, it's as if you liquefy and begin to creep into every nook and cranny of your home. Most of us know what that's like. Home is a place of embodied inhabitation. That's our third mark of home. What does embodied inhabitation mean? If you walk into my home, and my wife and I will celebrate 40 years of marriage this year. We have 5 children in that marriage. We have grandchildren now, and in our home we have the thing hanging on the wall that we used to measure the kids as they were growing up. We're now measuring the grandkids, but we're also now measuring Pawpaw because Pawpaw has shrunk. And they get a real laugh out of it every Christmas. It's an embodied place. If I walk into your house or your office or your cubicle, there's an embodiment of who you are within that. That's what home is. Home is a place of hospitality. You invite people over to watch the Super Bowl or the Olympics and you put out the queso. Nobody's coming for your stupid queso. We're happy for the queso, but it's the fellowship, it's the hospitality that happens within inside that space that is so incredibly important. Home is a place of safety and refuge. And I'm going to go back to the simple image of that little key. That key that you get to lock your door and secure your stuff creates a place of safety and refuge for you. Home is a place of stories and memories. It's often said that the mortar that holds the bricks of even the most impoverished home on the planet together are the stories and memories that flow from that home. And I will tell you, many of us in this room have been into some of the most impoverished places on the planet and have met some of the happiest people that you will ever meet. And contrary to that, we have sold homes and moved people into some of the most extraordinary homes on the planet that will be occupied by some of the most homeless people you will ever meet. Families that are disintegrating and blowing up. Absentee fathers off doing whatever absentee fathers are. Home is a place of stories and memories, and how can we create these stories and memories? And then home, number 7, is a place of orientation, and no matter where I've been in the world, and I've had the opportunity to be in some pretty cool places, my compass is always oriented to Austin, Texas, and my home in the middle of the Community First Village. And then number 8, last and not least, is that home is a place of affiliation and belonging. And it just turns out that you and I like to be around people like you and I. People that have shared values. So when you come from profoundly, catastrophically broken families, when you have suffered through addiction, when you have suffered through profound mental or physical health issues, the only people that can really understand who you are people that have had those shared experiences. The average time on the streets for the men and women that live in our village is almost 10 years. Average 10 years. Beautiful woman named Penny, a great artist, called her Penny Van Gogh, recently passed away, spent 40 years on the streets, starting when she was 12 years old. Think about that, what that means. And to move from a state of homelessness into a state of homefulness is pretty powerful. And look, the culture of our community is singularly the foundation of that. And we have 4 pillars to that culture. One is our faith. We are Christ-centered ministry, founded on the gospel of Jesus Christ. Faith is the number 1 pillar. Humility is pillar number 2. It's key to understand that none of us get to where we are today without an extraordinary army of others that have surrounded us. That's really the essence of this whole mega camp that I'm hearing, is how people come together and they're helping each other, not only internally in the world of our real estate business, but how do we impact our community? Our 3rd pillar is a generous spirit, and all of these conversations leading up to this talk have all been about people whose hearts have opened up generously into the community. And then our last pillar is integrity, you know? And boy, we live in a world that seems to lack an extraordinary amount of integrity. We're not even going to be able to make it through this political season right now without the war of integrity attacking from all corners. And then as I close, earlier in one of y'all's videos, you talked about a mathematical statement, mathematical formula. And we at Mobile Loaves and Fishes have a mathematical formula. It's a ratio, H over P to the power of G, where H is the numerator, P is the denominator. H stands for heart over P for pocket, heart first. We're in this business as a generous spirit. Pocket way second, to the exponential power of G for God equals unstoppable momentum. And that's how I know you guys operate. And I will tell you, we had a great time when Mo came to the operation the other day. It was beautiful. She got a lot of hand waves from people out in the audience. And I will absolutely tell you that when I grow up, I want to be like Mo. Thank you all very much.
Alan, it is so important to me that all of you got to meet him, because They have found the answer to the homeless situation. It is the most wonderful, beautiful thing I've ever seen. A group of us toured your community thanks to Sheena Sadum and to Grace Schiffman. And I'm going to ask him 3 questions before we close. So may I have your permission to go over about 3 to 4 minutes? May I? Okay. And I want them to roll the tape of our trip to the community while I ask you the questions. So my first question is, what is the greatest cause of homelessness?
Well, we believe, Mo, that the single greatest cause to homelessness is a profound catastrophic loss of family. Because I know that in every family here, we have drug addicts, alcoholics, or somebody battling a behavioral health issue. And somehow, no matter how dysfunctional that becomes inside of our families, for me it was my mom and my little brother, we managed to keep our family members out from under the bridge and on our street corners.
So that means the absolute separation of the family from the individual.
That's correct.
Would you address the complexity, just for a second, on being homeless?
Well, just imagine the way that we get to live today, which is unusual in the context of history. We have running water inside of our houses. We just turn a little knob and the water comes out. We have sanitary disposal. We're able to do all of our business without any negative impacts to our water system. We have trash collection. You and I are probably, all of us are probably on pretty doggone good insurance policies. I mean, at your age of 57 years old, it's...
Add 30 years to that and you have it.
But I mean, think about how healthy you are and how vibrant we are and how we get to live. That's just not how it is for men and women on the streets. And we want to be able to change that to some level.
Well, you certainly have in your community. Now, the big question I have is, do you believe that we can cure this problem?
You may not like this answer, but the answer would be no. But let me tell you, we can mitigate the hell out of this deal. And what we're witnessing has been around since the advent of man. Poverty and all the things that lead to it, broken families and what have you. But and I think if we move away from the solution cure side of things to go to the mitigating side of things, we're going to make far more progress in our efforts to do it. So
I want to tell you that touring the community had a profound effect on me. I saw the tiny houses, I saw the little bit larger houses, I saw all the different architectural styles, but let me tell you, when we came to the Memorial Garden, I was touched beyond belief, and my heart sang and my soul rejoiced because you cared enough about the people in your community to build that beautiful little garden. And I saw their names who had passed etched in the limestone. And I just want to tell you what that meant to me personally.
yeah, thank you very much.
Because I'm 87.
Yeah. Well, that's where will be, and I'm 68. Yeah, and who knows when that will all come.
Well, I want everyone to know that Keller Williams Realty International has been a donor to your community for the last 8 years, and we've pledged a large amount of money, and we're going to hit it. And I just thank all of you because it's because of you we're able to help this community. So my challenge to you is this. Go home, meet your mayor and city council, and tell them to take a trip to Austin to see Alan and tour his community. It's replicatable, it's duplicatable, and it's time for every community to do what you've done. And thanks so much for being here. Your story is amazing and so inspiring. And what I love is you're a role model for us all, especially for our ambassadors.
That's okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, as our company moves forward, may culture be always the unchanging force that drives our growth, productivity, and all of our relationships. We love you. God loves you. It's been a great mega camp, and make it home safely. Bye. Thank you so much, Alan.